We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
Good morning, Manny. How are you doing, my friend? You doing good?
Doing good, up in a Fairfield Inn in Tampa. My daughter's playing in the USL Pathway Classic for with her soccer team, Miami AC. So getting a chance to root her on, but following everything going on with the draft and NIL and free agency and college football, man, it's a busy time of year.
Let me ask you something. Why are we sometimes in the media just absolute dicks? Cam Ward gets drafted, and bro, half the questions are about Shedeur.
Yeah.
And it's like, one, that's not his problem.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it's his moment. Please celebrate his moment and his journey, which has been actually an amazing Baker Mayfield-like journey to where he got, because he did exactly what Baker Mayfield. He was doubted exactly like Baker Mayfield, and he screwed all the doubters every single time. Let's focus on that. I just thought, I get it, dude. We're also desperate for clicks and views. That's what the clicks and views subject was of last night. Oh, how Shedeur is falling, how Aaron Rodgers is falling, how Brady Quinn is falling. I understand all of that, but I really felt bad for Cam. Again, he handled it like he handles everything, He rises above it. But
right.
I thought it was a dick move on our part.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm living both sides of it now because I have a daughter who's an athlete, and I get it now why coaches and other people are so defensive over athletes with the media, because sometimes the intention is unwarranted on others, and the story gets lost. And to me, Cam Ward was the story yesterday. I mean, the guy was a nobody, and the moment he gets picked, you already have people on air saying, well, Shedeur Sanders is better. Like I would have taken Shedeur Sanders instead of Cam Ward. And it just steals the spotlight. And by the way, it wasn't just Cam Ward. It was everybody else who was getting drafted. There were a lot of other guys when their time came where they were being overshadowed by the Shedeur Sanders conversation. So I get it. As a journalist, you're going to go with the story that sells. But, hey, everybody, I don't get it for TV. Like, I really don't, because everybody's already tuned in to watch it anyway. You're not trying to draw eyeballs, right? Like, you already have everybody watching. Why do you have to sort of?
But right there, you have an enormous human interest story
Mm-hmm.
right there in your face, bro.
Yeah,
there are so many beautiful nuggets that we know about, but the the nation really doesn't, because they didn't have Cam Ward in their backyard for an entire season like we did. So we got to know all that this is your moment to expose it to everybody, including Titans fans, and you're ruining it by talking about someone else's bad moment.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that in the Aaron Rodgers or in the Brady Quinn drop. We didn't ask the other quarterbacks that were being drafted. We did it to Cam, and and again, I get it, because those two were working out together and all that kind of stuff. But I just thought it's just I don't know, man. There are times
poor taste.
Yeah.
Really poor taste. But I think, a lot of this now is we live in an era, where everybody's trying to get bite-sized, clicks. Like, I could put this little video up of 2 minutes and everybody will watch it. And it's everything wants to go viral. And so but you're right. I think they blew the whole telecast, in my opinion. I was watching the one on ESPN. I didn't tune into the one on ABC with Saban and everybody else. But I thought, it was way over the top on too much Shedeur and taking the spotlight from others.
Yeah. So does the tight end go here today in the second round?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, there were some good tight ends that came off the board already. So Arroyo's clearly moved up the list, right? I think he's probably the third or fourth best tight end available in this draft. So somebody will definitely take him. He's a playmaker, worthy of a day 2 selection, and it's just a matter of the right fit and which team wants him.
I keep thinking, that they got to see him. Do you believe Jalen Rivers is an NFL player?
I think he is a guy. Yes, I do. I think he's an NFL player. I think he's a guy who could play multiple spots on your offensive line, and there's a lot of value for that. He can play inside, he can play outside, he can play center.
And I think
There.
he's going to be a bargain because
Yes.
he's going to be like third, fourth rounds or something like that.
Hmm.
If I'm Miami, dude, and I desperately need linemen and versatility on top of all of that, I got to tell you something, man. I really would like Jalen Rivers in that fourth round, third round for him. Especially
Yeah,
the third round is like it's a compensatory pick. It's at the back end of the third round, so it's basically an early fourth rounder. Let me tell you something. I wouldn't mind seeing a guy like that at that spot for Miami. I like what I saw from that kid here at the U.
he's really tough, and you think about the injury that he overcame early in his career, right? He had that major knee injury. He played through injuries. He didn't play always healthy. To me, I think that's a guy that I'd take him on an NFL roster just for his work ethic and the fact that he's so diverse, especially with how many guys just have to grind, man. Like that kid grinds, and you think about the multiple positions he could play. Like that's a value pick for sure.
All right, so what's the latest in the transfer portal now for the Canes?
Well, I mean, let's start with the departures. There's been 6 guys because they haven't picked anybody up yet. So we can't talk about who they've landed. They've got 0 additions so far. They are talking to a lot of different people, having conversations in person down in Coral Gables, meeting with different people. But 6 guys have left. One of them decided to come back, and that was the freshman receiver, Nye Carr, who was a top 100 recruit, kid out of the Georgia area who decided to put his name into the portal. Slot receiver type, super talented, good re-pickup for Miami because, again, there's not a lot of competition in that receiver room in terms of experience. And if you got talented guys like Nikar in the fold that can compete for playing time, that's going to make your team better. And we'll see what happens. Like I said, you and I have had these conversations about guys getting in the portal and leaving all the time. It's just the way college football works. And I don't think Miami fans or people who haven't followed this as closely should take it as, oh, this is a negative on Mario Cristobal. No, these are guys who can go get paid to play elsewhere, and they can certainly get on the field faster, maybe in certain situations. So to me, I think that's part of the situation. Now, there have been a couple of other exits to talk about. Abram Murray, the kicker, who was very highly touted kicker, a guy who was supposed to replace one of the brothers that we've had here kicking for the last 4 years, 5 years. And he decided to enter the portal. So Miami is kicking the tires on a kicker from Texas who has a chance to end up playing here. And then they also have Carter Davis, who they picked up in the winter transfer window. Carter Davis was an all AAC specialist of the year at FAU. So I think in the end, there was a little bit of a kicking news. And then Emmanuel Carnley was the other noteworthy departure. He was a kid that was a top 100 transfer in the winter transfer portal window from Arizona, one of the cornerbacks that they brought in. He decided to get into the portal and leave. Probably saw the writing on the wall that he wasn't going to start and be coming off the bench, and he probably just wanted to go to a place where he could get on the field.
All right, so who have they met? Who are they targeting?
A lot of guys, man. Big one is AJ Halsey, who is a safety out of Houston. We talked about safety being probably the biggest need for this team in the portal. And Halsey was all Big 12 first team selection this past season, led Houston with 5 picks, 13 pass deflections, second on the team in tackles with 74. And you think about some of the moves Miami made, in the offseason to upgrade that secondary. They went out and got a guy who I think is going to be a really good safety in Zachariah Poyser, and now they potentially could land AJ Halsey. I mean, you talk about the upgrade at that position and just in defense in general. If they can land Halsey, that'll be huge for them. Of course, Halsey was coached by Miami's new DBs coach, Zach Etheridge, who came over from Houston. So I think obviously the Hurricanes have a little bit of an edge there. And then there's some other guys that they're kicking the tires on and hoping to meet with or have met with already, either on Zoom or in person. One of them is Trevor Penna, the Syracuse wide receiver, ex-Syracuse wide receiver who was number 1 in the ACC in catches last season, actually had more catches than Xavier Restrepo, 84. You talk about upgrading the receiver position with experience. I've told you before, that's a very young room, talented room, but a very young room. And Trevor Penn, I think, has already visited Penn State, which could be the leader for him. But he's had conversations with Miami. And then this weekend, there's going to be a few more guys that Miami meets with. One of them is a really good return man from BYU, Keelan Marion, really explosive, had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns last year. Another veteran guy who, brings more experience to that receiver room. Cincinnati wide receiver Tony Johnson is another, a guy who has had 6 touchdowns last season, productive. Again, you want to add experienced guys that have played to this wide receiver room, because really outside of CJ Daniels and JoJo Trader, nobody else in the roster started a game in college. So I think those are the focus. That's pretty much been the focus right now. I think D tackle is another slot they're looking at potentially to add someone, but I don't know that they found the guy yet that they like at D tackle.
All right. Carson Beck did a interview. What'd you pick up? What'd you pick from that?
Yeah, it's the first time he's had an opportunity to actually talk with somebody in the media. Did a podcast, which you guys can go and check out if you want. I think it's built for more podcast on YouTube. What I just took away from it is, this is a kid that really, I think, thought he was going to the NFL after last season and even after the injury, and I think ultimately was talked into coming back to college to play for Miami, probably because of how much they're paying him, which is, what I was told at the time was double what Cam Ward made coming over here from Washington State. How much did Cam Ward make at Miami last year? I was told $1.5 million, if not a little bit more with some of the other deals that he ended up getting. So Carson Beck is going to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in college football. And ultimately, you and I have talked about this for years. Miami wouldn't spend money on anything, right? They wouldn't spend money on coaches. They didn't want, they had the whole Nevin Shapiro fiasco, right? With paying players, and now, to have one of the healthiest NIL collectives. I talked to an agent earlier this week who told me point blank that in his opinion, Miami has a top 5, top 6 NIL collective, along with the Texas schools, Oregon, and Ohio State. That those are the ones that really spend the most money and have the biggest budgets. And so ultimately, you lose the number 1 overall pick, and now you go out and you get a guy in Carson Beck, who I think is definitely an NFL quarterback, coming off of major injury, but he's a guy that, let's face it, a year ago this time, before Cam Ward came to Miami, people were saying Carson Beck was going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft, right? Well, he gets hurt, and now you get a guy who's hungry to prove himself, kind of the way Cam Ward did. He's coming off that elbow injury, and he's been around his teammates all spring. He's starting to throw again, and now he's ready to make an impact for the Hurricanes.
Although Lane Kiffin wasn't impressed.
No, Lane Kiffin's not a fan. But Lane Kiffin probably shouldn't be talking. He lost at Florida, right? I mean, he had a chance to make the playoff, and he choked against the Gators team that Miami absolutely crushed. So, it is what it is. Lane Kiffin's had a lot of talent to work with, and to me, if you're at Ole Miss, you better start putting up, because they're spending a lot of money too on players, and don't see the results yet.
Yeah, that's a tough conference, bro. That is a bitch of a conference to overcome. All right, what do you got going on in the Athletics so folks can check you out?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of big national stories on the transfer portal. One of them is why there's been so many top 100 recruits that have entered the portal here after just 1 or 2 years. Before, you used to have a lot of kids that would just sort of ride it out maybe for the first 3 years. Now it's become a 1 or 2 year deal. So I wrote about a lot of those guys that have entered the portal here in the last year or two. I've also written a story on who's lost the most talent among the Power 4 schools, who's actually been hit pretty hard. I can tell you there's a lot of ACC teams on that list, though, in terms of losing quality guys. So if you watched the draft last night, do you know how many ACC guys were drafted? I tweeted about this, so you can probably cheat and look at the answer. But do you know how many ACC guys went in the first round?
3?
2.
2.
Okay.
2.
Yeah, if you look at this league,
I was, when you were talking about it, I was like going over the names, and I go, there wasn't a lot, and that's why I go with 3, and it was 2.
Yeah. If you go by conference, the SEC and Big Ten got 26 of the 32 picks last night. I mean, that just shows you how much college football has become a 2-conference race. ACC with 2, Big 12 with 2, Mountain West with 1. and 1 player from the FCS ranks. And if you look at the last 3 years combined, the Pac-12, which isn't even a conference anymore, they had more first-round picks over the last 3 years in the ACC. They had 12 combined in the previous 2. So ACC is not a great conference. Miami,
it's called another crappy conference.
Yeah, and I think last night just sort of reemphasized how winnable this. It feels like the Big East, if we're being honest. It feels like it's become the Big East. It really does.
Yes.
You go back to the 90s and 2000s, right? Everybody was talking crap about the Big East. Oh, Miami wins a crap conference every year. Well, it's sort of set up for you again to be that way.
Yeah, and we still can't do it, which is just absolutely amazing. All right, follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and subscribe to The Athletic and support the man as always. Appreciate you, my brother. We will catch up next week. Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Talk soon.
You got it. Hey, visit our friends at BigCheeseMiami.com. We talk about them all the time. Great people, and it's an institution for over 40 years, 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. The menu is second to none. The pizza is delicious. The garlic rolls are to die for. And, of course, when we talk about the baked ziti or the lasagna or the sauteed chicken, I could just go on and talk about the desserts and everything else there. Please go to the Big Cheese. Check it out for yourself. You can also order party platters, too, for your business, your corporation. You guys are school. You're having a get-together. Call them 305-662-6855. Better yet, visit them, man. Go by there with your friends, your family members, your loved ones. 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. It's an institution. It's the BigCheeseMiami.com.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.